There is nothing about what Ukraine is doing right now that is technologically advanced. It's simply putting off-the-shelf components together in a new way. And I would be stunned if by the end of this year, the Russians weren't doing the same thing. Hasn't happened yet, but this doesn't require high-end semiconductors. Most of these things are going to be like 16 nanometers and dumber. None of these are under export controls. This is very, very easy from a technical point of view to copy. And we've already seen the Iranians do a little bit of it in the war with the United States. I would argue that most of the base attacks that we saw on the Arab side of the Persian Gulf against U.S. military facilities were memory drones like these. More primitive, but still very functional. So if the Russians can bring their mass in the Chinese industrial plant and do the same tactic, Ukraine's in a lot of trouble. But for the moment, we're not there. For the moment, every energy and transport asset within about 600 miles of the front is fair game. And we've had over 140 attacks now on Shadow Fleet tankers in the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea in just the last 6 weeks. We are looking at the end of Russia's ability to export through the Baltic or the Black. Conservatively, that's 3 to 4 million barrels a day of oil and product, and that is the end of Russia's ability to play in the energy markets at scale. They'll still be able to use, for now, their Siberian export route, but collectively, rail and pipe there is less than a third of what goes west. So yeah, long-term impact. This is the end of Russia as a significant energy exporter.
The end of?
The end. Once this physical infrastructure is destroyed, the wells will be shut in, and most of them are mature wells that require foreign technology for their development. The Russians will have to re-drill them, and they can't re-drill them until such time as the sanctions are gone. The Chinese don't have the technology. And that won't happen, at least until the war is over. And if Ukraine loses, it'll never happen. And if Ukraine wins, then we first have to discuss what the post-war environment in Russia looks like as to whether that's even possible. So yeah, this is it.
No, that's a good point. Colleagues of mine within Siberia have been saying that, gas oil, you can't just switch it on and off. That's what people seem to constantly misunderstand. And they don't
depends
have
on the field, but overall, that's generally a good starting point.
Yeah, but generally speaking, is that they don't have the components which are of a largely Western backgrounds to replenish it. So yeah, it is.
It's not just the components; it's Russia doesn't know how to operate in a mature field without external help. So the people who are doing it right now are folks who are trained by Schlumberger and Halliburton and the rest, who are ethnic Russians with Russian citizenship, and there's about 100 of them that are desperate to hold this all together. And they know that if they actually stop production, they won't be able to restart it.
I'm not sure what you mean by they don't know how to do it themselves.
They can maintain an existing flow rate. You're basically either injecting carbon dioxide or water or natural gas or LPG that you pull out of the crude stream so you don't pollute the pipes. There's a lot of things you can do to keep up reservoir pressure in the northern Russian fields. But if that pressure drops because you stopped production, that well typically has to be abandoned, and you have to do a from-scratch restart completely with new drilling. That's a series of technologies that haven't been applied in Russia since these things were brought on, because these aren't fresh wells. So the staff that Russia has were never trained up on how to do that. Once these mature wells stop, you would have to do a complete reboot. That's not something you do in 1 year or 2 year or 5 years.